ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and today we're going to take a look at the Gryphon Spitfires. Now I've recently had a few questions asked about why haven't I done first impressions or really covered anything to do with these two new Spitfires on the channel. And the reason is, I don't think it's actually a plane that I should be doing an FI on, because Gryphon itself has said that the flight model on this aircraft is nowhere near complete. The plane itself is still very good, providing it's upgraded, but it doesn't have the characteristics that a Gryphon Spit should have. So as a result, I'm not going to do any FIs or reviews on this aircraft until the flight model is at least somewhere in the ballpark of being finished. Now yes, I did just say that this is a very good plane. A lot of people seem to be just hating on it at the moment. It is a very good plane, even in its current state. It just needs to be fully upgraded first. When it's in stock format, its speed is nothing to write home about. It's fast, but it takes a while to get there, which is the biggest point, that it's not following the real Gryphon Spitfires. They were known for vicious levels of acceleration that this aircraft just doesn't have at the moment. Its manoeuvrability, again, it's not bad. It manoeuvres like a Spitfire Mark 9, so that would make sense. It's still a good machine on turning in stock format. The biggest issue with it in stock format, however, and it's the issue that everybody hates on, is the guns. Now, it's marked with 4 20mm Hispano Mark 5s. These are really good guns. What's not particularly good about these weapons in stock format, however, is the spread on them. Just taking a quick look around the cockpit, it's still one of the most beautiful aircraft from the inside of the cockpit in the game. But anyways, back to the guns. Now, in stock format, this aircraft has 4 20mm Hispano Mark 5s, which are very good weapons. They are basically the same 20mm cannons you find on all the Meteor series. They're probably the best 20mm in the game. The catch is on this Spitfire is how much they spread by. Now, at a convergence range of 500 meters fully upgraded, your spread area is around 10 feet. That's the spray on a 1 second to 2 second burst. How far the shells will change from the actual center point that you're aiming at is about 10 feet. Now the upgrade for the guns on this aircraft, which is around the second last upgrade you'll ever actually get on it, reduces the spread range by 14 feet. Which means in stock configuration, the spread at optimal gun convergence range for this aircraft is 25 feet. That's half the size of a B-17 or more. In fact, in stock format, I have pulled this aircraft up behind a B-17 at a convergence range of 400 meters and pulled the trigger and managed to put a shell into both wingtips. There's the first kill. However, you can see once it's fully upgraded, the convergence is much tighter than what you would expect, and this is the biggest drawback of this aircraft and why people are struggling with it at the moment. Even with its performance not being up to tier, this is effectively a slightly faster Spitfire Mark 9, which is not a bad thing in any way. It's also a slightly faster Spitfire Mark 9 that is equipped with 4 20mm cannons, but it's just the spread on these cannons that is insane. It makes them almost unusable as a combat plane until you get them fully upgraded. Before that, you need to get in close, and I mean inside what your normal convergence would be, and let them have it at point blank range. Otherwise your shots are going to scatter all over the aircraft you're trying to hit and never actually do any damage. Now, as you can see, I've just overheated the engine. Mercifully, it doesn't take much to cool this engine down. As soon as you pull it off wet, it'll basically drop back into the amber. It is very slow to cool off the amber point. However, flicking the throttles back to either 0 or under 50% and holding it there for about 6 or 7 seconds will usually bring the temp down to white again. Now, as I mentioned before, this variant, my Mk.22, is fully upgraded. The only upgrade components that I am missing from the aircraft are the bomb pylons, and considering I'm never planning on putting ordnance on this aircraft, I discount those as being part of the upgrade system. Providing the guns and weapon systems, belts and engine airframe are fully upgraded, there's no real reason to unlock the rest as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm out hunting the rest of the enemy team, minus a single Focke-Wulf 190 to our rear that's playing with an F8F at the moment. Everybody's in front of us. and everyone is at relatively low altitude. The entire enemy team seems to be converging back on their own runways for AAA defence. We've got a P-51 down there playing with a 109. I'm moving in on a second 109 that is moving to get into a boom position on him. There's also a Focke-Wulf 190 down there that he's playing with, and it looks like things have not gone his way. It looks like he may have been taken out. So I'm going to have to clear the up deck and get down there as fast as I can. So, the first target is the BF-109K4, 1.2 kilometres away. Now, the Spitfire, it is a Mark 9 underneath at the moment, so I can maintain a climb with a K4. However, I'll never beat one in a dive. However, unlike the Mark 9, this aircraft has had its maximum speed increase to account for the fact that it's supposed to have a Gryphon engine. This allows me not to be able to outrun the K in a dive. I can maintain pace with it. And with the guns fully upgraded, knowing my drop-off rates, I can put in some sneaky shots and take out his elevator. So he's out of the match. Second K4 goes booming past. Take it over. That's that K4 out. Now I have two potential targets here at the moment. I've got a BF-109K4 that's zooming around me and a 190 that's floating around as well. So whichever one presents itself first is what I'm going to go for. And the K4 is the target. Take first series of shots, not quite enough lead. Second line gets a critical hit. That's ruined its ability to fly. Pulling on its tail, goes to manoeuvre away, no chance. Take off its tail, third kill. So with both my engine temp and my oil temp on amber, and being at a relatively low energy state after that fight, I pull out of the area and get myself some distance from the last fighters, although the rest of the team is rocking up now, so I'm really not overly concerned. Just loop back under this D, but it's taken out, so I don't have to worry about it. Now, what I'm hoping everyone can see here is the Mk.22 and, well, the Mk.24 is an identical aircraft to this one at the moment. They're not bad machines. Even though the flight models are not corrected, these are actually quite good aircraft at the moment. Gaijin has done the smart thing with this plane. It's a slightly faster Mark 9, so they've tiered it appropriately to that. Once the new flight models are added to it, or the flight model in this aircraft is completed and all the engine performance and acceleration of the Gryphon is added, it's likely this aircraft's going to spike to a battle rank 6 fighter, because it's the only place you could really put it. It will be lethal once it hits that stage. But that doesn't mean it's unflyable now. In fact, the only upgrade that it really desperately needs as fast as you possibly can, and as I said, unfortunately it's one of the last upgrades you'll get, is the upgrade on those 20mm cannons. Before you get those, this thing sprays like a shot. So, with that, this match is pretty much over. Everything's been destroyed, we're just waiting for the ticket counter to come on, so let's go check out the results. So, second place on the team with 3 kills, Terror of the Sky and Bulletproof awards, 73,845 silver lions, and 6,510 mod and air research points. And this is just base RP, because I'm not researching anything on this aircraft. And not a bad match overall. Now, as I said during the match, that's the key with the Mk.22 and the Mk.24, because they both are effectively the same aircraft at this point in time. They need their upgrades. Until they have all their upgrades applied, they are not incredibly good aircraft. Once the upgrades are on, it's a faster Spitfire Mark 9 with 420mm cannons. That's the flight model that it's got at the moment. It's a very good plane. It will get better over time, and that's one of the things to consider too. If you have this plane, it's worth trying to grind through the upgrades now, because if you don't, it's still going to be a large chunk of its performance is going to be bound into those upgrades, and when the flight model is corrected, it's probably going to be tiered to battle rating 6, so you'll be fighting in jet categories with it. A much harder area to level your aircraft. So next up, the Spitfire Mark 24, and I'm still torn over which one of these aircraft looks better. I love the camo and the yellow markings on this Mark 22, but the silver and black paint job on the Mark 24 is kind of sexy as well. It's an important decision to make between those two camos, because as I said earlier, that's the only difference between these two aircraft, besides, that and the number in their name. For the moment, they're both using identical flight models. Now, the Spitfire Mark 24 historically had a much higher dive speed. A modified version of the military Mark 24, as far as I'm aware, still actually carries the speed record for the fastest piston-powered, propeller-driven dive ever, which it actually broke the sound barrier in a dive. Of course, this Mark 24 will never dive that fast, and it has nothing to do with the flight model not being completed yet. It is everything to do with the fact that this was my first flight in the Mark 24. There are no upgrades applied. So this is the aircraft in stock format. I'm just sitting at altitude, being watchful. I know this aircraft stock is not particularly great. I've got to look for very vulnerable targets in order to make it work effectively to begin with. And I'm just not sure who to go for. You have the P-51 climbing up at altitude. It is engaging one of our other Spitfires. I should probably go over there and give it some assistance, so I begin heading that way. A premium Spitfire is engaging two other Spitfires of ours at low altitude. I'm not worried about that fight. Second P-51 is incoming. And it's incoming fast. It looks like it's moving to engage me. Switch targets. This guy's going to come in too quick. I'm going to have to deal with him. Looks like he's changed targets onto the other P-51. Hold the drive, just trying to close in. I don't want to surrender all my altitude. Second coming in. And you can see the spray there. The spray actually helped me in that situation. I was slightly off aim, but the shotgun effect on the guns is so large that I managed to put a shell into the P-51 anyway and make it break off. Maneuverability wise, even stock, it allowed maneuver a P-51, so I'm not worried in that area. If they're silly enough to turn flight with me, I will kill them. Unfortunately, I've got myself caught in a low energy state here. 220 does seem to kill your maneuverability quite a lot, but it's not helping that P-51 either. Put some hits in. Almost get my tail rammed off them by a second Spitfire. As you can see, those shots were right on target. The shells simply flew around the P-51. Nothing actually stuck. And that's the problem with the gun stock. Even at optimal convergence range, you're looking at almost a 25-foot spread. So it's entirely possible to have your guns aimed perfectly on target and to squeeze the trigger and just watch your shells fly straight past and nothing hit home. Get some more hits and a critical on the back of the P-51. And I managed to get the kill. Thank you very much. I'll take that. I need that RP to get these guns fixed. So, first kill, and it only left me with 42 rounds of ammunition. It only cost pretty much every single round that I had in the aircraft in order to take out that P-51. And most of it because when I was shooting a little wild behind the target, which didn't help matters. On two occasions in that turn, I had guns on target and the shells simply wouldn't hit. Second kill. Just clip out that AI, it was in the area, I had a little bit of ammo left over, might as well take it out. Now all this low speed manoeuvring has overheated my water, so I am going to have to kill the WEP here in a second once I've cleared the immediate battlefield, so I can let this thing cool down. There we go. And I'm going to have to RTB to get more ammo. There's no two ways about that. It has to be done. Still 12 rounds left in the guns, however, so might as well try and take out some stuff on the way back. Just clean out that single AA gun on the way past. Any more credits and RP you can gain in this thing, you just drag in as much as you can. You need that gun upgrade. And for me, that was pretty much the end of the match. I make it back to the runway and get a full rearm, reload, repair, take off, and the enemy team has been eliminated. So that was me out. I don't know why I was lining up that truck for a shot then. I had no ammunition on board to kill it. But anyways, let's go check out the results. So the results for the Mark 24, second place with 2 kills, 1 player, 1 AI. 59,649 Silver Lions, 2,509 mod research points, and the same for air research points. Again, no modifiers because the British line has been completed. And that was just enough mod RP to unlock the fuselage repair and get me on my way to getting some belts into this aircraft. And that's the other thing I should probably mention with it. It does get the same crappy 1 tracer shell, 1 practice shell, 1 high explosive shell default belt that all British 20mm Hispano equipped aircraft get. It is a terrible, horrible belt, which means basically 1 shot in 3 that you're firing is actually an effective round. The other 2 will do little to no damage, especially in high tier aircraft or against armoured targets. They'll just ricochet off. This, coupled with the 25-foot spread on the guns, means killing targets is a nightmare in this thing until you get it upgraded, which is why so many people think it's bad. The upgrades, however, fix most of the problems. The belts, as soon as you unlock them, should be the first thing you select to unlock after you complete fuselage repair, and you can unlock them immediately. Get them over, get into at least universal belts whacked into this thing's guns. That fixes up half your problems. Now you actually have an effective belt to fire at the enemy with. The next focus, as you see here, the aircraft in this match, the Mark 22, was dead stock. It was still outmaneuvering P-51s. It wasn't quite as fast as it needed to be, but that comes with the upgrades. But the upgrades on its maneuverability are not urgent. Bit of engine performance will help, but the guns are necessary to make this plane work. Without having the gun upgrades, you will struggle to kill targets. It will require a lot of patience and a lot of careful manoeuvring to get this thing into position to actually destroy something. Once the guns are done, it's the same as any other quad 20mm equipped aircraft. It is lethal. And the best part about this aircraft, and as I mentioned it earlier on, but is that at the moment that it's underperforming. It's only going to get better. So once you get this thing fully upgraded, enjoy flying it now and know that in the future this plane is probably going to receive a BR increase, but it's also going to receive a massive performance boost. Anyways, ladies and gents, I'm going to call this one here. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.